Awakening the awareness. Close your eyes for just a moment and take a deep breath. Feel the air enter your lungs, feel your chest rise, and then slowly release that breath. In this simple act of breathing lies the greatest truth. You are alive, you are conscious, and you are more powerful than you realize. Most people spend their lives without ever truly pausing to recognize this awareness. They run from one moment to the next, pulled like puppets by their emotions, anger, fear, sadness, excitement, never stopping to ask, am I in control or am I being controlled? The first step to training your mind to be stronger than your emotions is awakening to the fact that you are not your emotions. You are the awareness behind them. When anger arises, you often say, I am angry. When sadness comes, you say, I am sad. But pause and think about this. Are you sadness? Are you anger? No. These are simply passing states that visit your mind, but they are not who you are. You are the one who observes them, the silent witness that notices. Anger is here. Fear is here. Sadness is here. This realization alone is liberating. Imagine standing on the shore of an ocean. The waves crash violently, rising high, pulling back, sometimes calm, sometimes furious. Those waves are your emotions. They come and go, rise and fall, but the ocean itself remains vast, deep, and unshaken. You are the ocean, not the waves. Yet most people confuse themselves with the waves and believe that when a storm comes, they are drowning. In reality, the storm only touches the surface. Deep within, the ocean is still. Deep within you, there is a silence that no emotion can disturb. Awareness is the key that unlocks this silence. Without awareness, you will continue to live in reaction. Someone says something that hurts you, and immediately you lash out. Something doesn't go as planned, and you collapse into frustration. Without awareness, you become a slave to every passing feeling. But with awareness, you pause. You recognize, this is anger trying to control me. This is fear trying to weaken me. And in that recognition, you already begin to take back your power. Think about it. How many decisions in your life were made out of pure emotion? How many times did you say words you regret because you spoke in anger? How many opportunities did you avoid because fear convinced you that you weren't ready? How many moments of joy did you lose because sadness blinded you to the blessings around you? Emotions are powerful, but only when you let them lead. The truth is, you are far more powerful than any emotion because emotions are temporary, but your awareness is eternal. So, the awakening begins here with a decision. A decision to stop identifying with emotions and start witnessing them. To step out of the storm and into the sky of consciousness. From this moment forward, every time you feel an emotion rising, pause and remember, I am not this anger, I am not this fear, I am not this sadness, I am the one who sees it, I am awareness itself. And that awareness is the first step toward unshakable strength. The illusion of emotions. Emotions are one of the most powerful forces shaping human life. They influence our thoughts, our decisions, and even the direction of our destiny. Yet, one of the greatest spiritual awakenings comes when you realize this truth. Your emotions are not permanent. They are illusions. Think about the sky on a cloudy day. Dark, heavy clouds may cover the sun, making the world seem gloomy and cold. But does that mean the sun has disappeared? Of course not. The sun is still shining in its full brilliance. It's only hidden for a short while. In the same way, emotions are like clouds drifting through the sky of your mind. Fear, anger, jealousy, sadness, they may cover your inner light, but they cannot destroy it. They are temporary visitors, not eternal truths. The problem arises when we forget this and start to believe the illusion. When sadness comes, we feel as if it will never leave. When fear grips us, we think it defines who we are. When anger rises, it blinds us into acting as if that moment of rage is our reality. But look deeper. Every emotion you've ever felt has passed. The sadness you felt years ago is no longer here. The anger that burned within you last week is gone. Even the joy of yesterday has faded. If emotions come and go, how can they be who you truly are? Your true self is not the emotion. It is the witness of the emotion. When you see emotions as illusions, you stop drowning in them. Imagine watching a storm from the safety of a mountain peak. The rain pours, the lightning strikes, the thunder roars, but you are untouched. This is how a strong mind perceives emotions. Instead of saying, I am the storm, you recognize, I am the mountain, and the storm is only passing through. Understanding this changes everything. Because once you see emotions as illusions, you begin to treat them differently. Instead of resisting them, you allow them to pass. Instead of believing them, you question them. When fear says, you can't do this, you smile and think, fear is just a cloud. It is not the truth. When anger tells you, they deserve your hate, you breathe and say, this anger will pass. My peace is deeper than this feeling. And here lies the secret. Emotions lose their control over you the moment you stop identifying with them. They feed on your belief. They grow stronger when you say, this is who I am. But the moment you see through the illusion, they dissolve like mist under the rising sun. So, the next time a strong emotion rises within you, remember, it is only a visitor. Do not build your home inside it. Do not make it your identity. Instead, step back and observe. Watch it rise, watch it peak, and then watch it fall away. For just as every night eventually gives way to dawn, every emotion eventually fades. The truth of who you are remains constant, unchanging, eternal, beyond the illusion of feelings. This is freedom. And this freedom begins with one realization. I am not the cloud. I am the sky. I am not the emotion. I am the awareness that sees it. The power of the pause. Between every emotion and your response lies a sacred space. A moment so small that most people overlook it, yet so powerful that it can change the course of your entire life. This is the power of the pause. When anger rises, the natural impulse is to react instantly. Words are spoken in haste, actions are taken in fury, and later regret comes like a heavy shadow. When fear strikes, the impulse is to run, to avoid, to hide. When sadness appears, the impulse is to give up, to sink deeper into hopelessness. But what if, in that very moment of emotional intensity, you could pause? What if you could insert a breath, a heartbeat, a space between the emotion and your reaction? That space is where your true strength lives. The pause is not weakness, it is mastery. Anyone can be swept away by emotion. It takes no training to react instantly, but to pause, to breathe, and to choose. That is the act of a strong and awakened mind. In the pause, you reclaim your freedom. You stop being a slave to emotions and start being the master of them. Think about the great leaders, saints, or wise souls of history. Do you believe they never felt anger, fear, or sorrow? Of course they did. They were human, just like us. But what set them apart was their ability to pause before reacting. Instead of allowing emotion to control them, they used that sacred space to choose a higher response. And in that choice, they shaped destinies. Imagine someone insults you. Without a pause, you snap back, fueled by anger. The cycle of conflict continues, and peace is lost. But if you pause, even for a few seconds, you create room for wisdom. You might realize their insult says more about them than about you. You might choose silence, or kindness, or simply walking away. That one pause prevents endless suffering. The same applies to fear. You stand before a challenge and fear whispers, "You're not ready." If you react instantly, you step back and miss the opportunity. But if you pause, you allow courage to rise. You remember your purpose. You choose to step forward despite the fear. That single pause transforms fear into growth. Even in sadness, the pause is powerful. Instead of drowning in despair, you pause and remind yourself, this feeling is temporary. I have survived sadness before, and I will again. The pause doesn't deny emotion. It honors it, observes it, but does not surrender to it. So how do you train this pause? Through practice. Begin with your breath. When emotions rise, don't rush to react. Breathe deeply. Count to 3. Feel the emotion, but don't move with it. Give your higher self a chance to step in. With time, the pause becomes your greatest ally, your shield in the storm. Remember this truth. Life is not shaped by what happens to you, but by how you respond. And your response is born in the pause. Train your mind to live in that sacred space, and you will discover a power greater than any emotion, the power of conscious choice. Training through discipline. Strength of mind is not something you are simply born with. It is something you build day by day, choice by choice. Just as the body grows strong through exercise, the mind grows strong through discipline. Without consistent training, the mind becomes weak, easily swayed by emotions, easily distracted, easily broken. But with discipline, the mind becomes like a warrior, calm, sharp, unshakable. Think of a soldier preparing for battle. He does not wait until the enemy appears to sharpen his sword. He sharpens it every day, so that when the moment of battle arrives, he is ready. The same is true for your mind. You cannot wait until anger, fear, or sadness attacks you to suddenly find strength. You must train your mind daily, so that when emotions arise, you already have the power to stand firm. How do you train? Through practices of awareness, focus, and self-control. Meditation is one of the most powerful disciplines. Sitting in silence, observing your thoughts without judgment may seem simple, but it is like lifting the heaviest weights for the mind. Each time you notice a thought and gently return to your breath, you strengthen your ability to observe rather than react. Over time, this discipline teaches you that emotions are not chains. They are clouds that pass. Prayer, too, is a form of discipline. It grounds the mind in faith, in humility, in connection to something greater than yourself. When you pray with sincerity, you train your mind to surrender fear, to rise above worry, and to focus on higher truths. Gratitude journaling, daily reflection, mindful walking, all these simple practices sharpen the blade of awareness. Discipline also means guarding what you feed your mind. Just as the body becomes weak with unhealthy food, the mind becomes weak with unhealthy input. The media you consume, the conversations you engage in, the environment, and you allow yourself to remain in, all of these shape the strength of your mind. If you constantly feed your mind with negativity, comparison, and fear, your emotions will rule you. But if you nourish your mind with wisdom, truth, and silence, you will rise above emotions with clarity. Another key aspect of discipline is consistency. One workout does not make you strong, and one meditation session does not awaken your mind. It is the daily practice, the unwavering commitment that builds strength. Some days will feel easy, others will feel impossible. But each time you show up, you are building resilience. Each time you choose discipline over comfort, your mind grows stronger. Yes, discipline is challenging. It requires sacrifice. It demands that you do what is necessary, not what is easy. But remember this, the pain of discipline is temporary, while the pain of regret lasts a lifetime. Train your mind today, and tomorrow's emotions will no longer have the power to control you. So ask yourself, are you sharpening your sword daily, or are you waiting for the storm unprepared? Train with discipline. Rise with awareness. Build your inner strength brick by brick. Because a disciplined mind is a liberated mind, and no emotion can enslave a soul that has mastered itself. Aligning with higher purpose. When emotions rise and storms shake your heart, one question can anchor you back into strength. What is my higher purpose? Without purpose, emotions become your master. With purpose, you become the master of emotions. Think about it. A person without direction is like a boat in the ocean without a compass, tossed around by every wave, helpless against the tides. That is how most people live, driven entirely by fleeting emotions. Today they feel motivated, so they move forward. Tomorrow they feel discouraged, so they give up. Their entire destiny is ruled by feelings that change from moment to moment. But a person with a higher purpose is like a ship with a steady compass. No matter how violent the waves, they stay the course, guided by something greater than temporary emotions.
Your higher purpose is the why that goes beyond comfort, beyond pleasure, beyond ego. It is the calling of your soul, the reason you wake up, the reason you endure challenges, the reason you rise when you fall. When you live with purpose, anger cannot easily control you because you know your mission is bigger than the insult that provoked you. Fear cannot stop you because you understand that your vision is greater than your worry. Sadness cannot destroy you because your purpose reminds you that there is still meaning even in pain. History is full of examples. Great leaders, saints, teachers, and innovators all felt emotions just like us. They experienced fear, doubt, and pain. But what kept them moving was their higher purpose. Gandhi's purpose was freedom. Mother Teresa's purpose was service. Martin Luther King Jr.'s purpose was justice. These individuals did not escape emotion. They transcended it by aligning with something greater. So what is your higher purpose? For some, it may be faith and devotion to God. For others, it may be serving humanity, creating
art, raising a family, or building a legacy of wisdom and love. Your purpose does not have to be grand in the eyes of the world. It only has to be true in the depths of your heart. Once you discover it, nurture it. Write it down. Reflect on it every morning. Let it be the compass that guides your actions. When emotions flare, return to your purpose. Ask yourself, will anger serve my higher calling? Will fear bring me closer to my vision? Will giving into sadness fulfill my mission? Almost always, the answer is no. And here lies the secret. When your purpose is strong enough, emotions become fuel instead of obstacles. Anger transforms into passion for justice. Fear transforms into courage to grow. Sadness transforms into compassion for others. Your purpose does not erase emotions, it redeems them. So align yourself today. Do not live only for pleasure, comfort, or approval. Live for something eternal. Live for truth, for service, for growth, for love. Because when you know your higher purpose, your mind gains unshakable strength, and no emotion, no matter how strong, can ever lead you astray. Liberation of the soul. The ultimate strength of the mind is not simply control over emotions. It is the realization that your soul is beyond them. When you begin to see yourself not as the anger, not as the fear, not as the sadness, but as the eternal awareness that witnesses all, you step into true liberation. This is the freedom the sages spoke about, the peace that cannot be shaken, the light that no darkness can extinguish. Your soul is like the sun. It shines constantly, whether clouds cover the sky or storms rage in the heavens. Emotions are only passing weather, but the soul is the eternal light. When you identify with emotions, you suffer. When you identify with the soul, you transcend. You recognize, I am not broken by this storm. I am the sky in which the storm exists. Liberation does not mean you stop feeling emotions. You will still feel joy, love, anger, fear, and sadness. But the difference is, you will no longer be enslaved by them. You will feel them fully, honor them, and then release them. You will no longer drown in them because you know they are waves and you are the ocean. Think about how freeing this is. Imagine living a life where insults do not disturb your peace, where fear does not paralyze your dreams, where sadness does not steal your hope. Imagine facing every emotion with calm confidence, knowing it cannot define you. This is not fantasy, it is your natural state once you awaken to who you truly are. So how do you live in this state of liberation? By remembering every single day the truth of your being. Through meditation, through prayer, through silence, through reflection, you remind yourself, I am not this temporary feeling. I am eternal awareness. I am the soul. The more you practice, the stronger this realization becomes, until it is no longer just an idea, but a lived experience. In liberation, you begin to see emotions different. Lie. Anger becomes a signal that something needs your wisdom, not your rage. Fear becomes a reminder to trust your higher purpose. Sadness becomes a doorway to compassion. Even joy, instead of making you cling, becomes a gentle gift to be appreciated in the moment. Everything becomes a teacher, and nothing has power over you. This is the destiny of the human spirit, to rise above the illusions of the mind and live as the awakened soul. It is the greatest victory you can achieve, not victory over others, not victory over circumstances, but victory over yourself. So I leave you with this truth. You are stronger than your emotions. You are deeper than your thoughts. You are the eternal soul, unshaken, limitless, free. Train your mind, awaken your awareness, align with your purpose, and you will discover the liberation that has been within you all along. Rise not as a prisoner of emotions, but as the master of them. Rise not as a seeker of peace, but as peace itself. Rise and live as the awakened soul you were born to be. As we come to the end of this journey, pause for a moment and reflect on what you have just discovered. The truth has always been within you. You are not your emotions. You are the awareness behind them. You are not the storm. You are the sky. You are not the waves. You are the ocean. And once you begin to live from this realization, everything changes. Think back to the life you may have been living before. Controlled by impulses, thrown around by anger, paralyzed by fear, broken by sadness, lost in doubt. How many times have you let emotions dictate your actions, only to regret them later? How many opportunities slipped away because fear whispered you weren't ready? How many relationships were damaged because anger took control? How many moments of joy were stolen because sadness refused to let go? This is the life of an untrained mind, reactive, fragile, unstable. But now you see a higher path. You have learned the illusion of emotions, the sacred power of the pause, the strength that comes from discipline, and the unshakable grounding of higher purpose. These are not just ideas, they are tools, practices, and truths that can reshape your entire life. The choice is yours, to continue being a prisoner of emotions or to rise as the master of them. True liberation begins when you decide to live consciously. Imagine waking up each day not controlled by what you feel, but guided by who you are. Imagine facing challenges not with panic, but with clarity. Imagine building relationships not on emotional reactions, but on wisdom, patience, and love. This is not just possible, it is your birthright. But let me be clear. The journey requires practice. It requires awareness, discipline, and devotion. There will still be moments when emotions try to pull you down, but in those moments, remember what you have learned. You always have a choice. You can pause, you can breathe, you can align with your higher purpose, and in doing so, you step out of the storm and into the stillness of your soul. This is the path of the awakened one, the one who is no longer tossed around by life but stands rooted like a mountain, the one who feels deeply but is not enslaved by feelings, the one who uses emotions as teachers, not masters, the one who lives not from reaction but from awareness. So I ask you today, will you continue letting emotions define your destiny, or will you rise into the freedom of your soul? Will you live as a prisoner of storms, or as the eternal sky that holds them all? The answer is within you. Train your mind, strengthen your awareness, align with your higher purpose, and step into the liberation that has always been waiting for you. You are stronger than your emotions. You are greater than your fears. You are the awakened soul. Now live like it.